Picture this. There's a flat that costs 1 crore 20 lakh rupees to buy. Or you can rent the exact same flat for 35,000 rupees every month. So, what do? Do you buy or do you rent? Now, at every family dinner, there is one line that ends this debate before it even starts.
बेटा, रेंट का घर खुद का नहीं होता.
And on the internet, there's also the exact opposite team. Rent karo, paisa market mein dalo, renting always wins. Both sides are completely sure, but both sides can't be right. Can they? So I did what I always do. I opened a spreadsheet, I put both people inside it, one buyer and one renter, put in a bunch of assumptions like they earn the same salary, they live in the same city, the time period some 20 years for this simulation, and I tried to see who would actually win, the buyer or the renter. And I want to warn you, the person who won changed the lead multiple times. And the thing that decided the ultimate winner is something that almost no YouTube video actually tells you. Hi, I'm Arunima, and this is How Bizarre. So, let's begin. So, meet a buyer. He is buying the 1.2 crore rupee flat. He pays, let's say, 24 lakh rupees as his down payment, and the bank lends him the balance amount, which is about 96 lakh rupees. And let's say they charge him an interest rate of about 8.6%. That too for about 20 years. So his monthly payment, if you do this calculation, or the EMI, is 83,920 rupees. That's every single month for 240 months. Now go ahead and ask anyone, what does this house cost? They'll say 1.2 crore rupees. Obviously wrong. Because over 20 years, he doesn't just return 96 lakh rupees to the bank. He actually returns 2.01 crore rupees. Now, where did this extra 1.05 crore rupees come from? That's actually the interest he's paying the bank for its money. It's not compounding for him, but it's compounding for the bank. Now, if you add his down payment also, it comes to about 2.25 crore rupees. But we're still not done. Owning a house comes with tons of owner problems. Like this property tax of about 60,000 rupees a year, this goes up around 5% annually. Then the society maintenance cost, which is another 60,000 rupees a year. And you need to pay this regardless of what your situation is, whether you're living there, you're not living there, you've put it on rent, or the house is just locked. Then think repairs. I'm talking about taps leaking or the paint which ends up peeling. वो सारे repair cost को जोड़कर that comes to about 12,000 rupees a year. And there's also that one-time setup cost of about 10 lakhs to make the house actually livable. So if you add all of those costs up for this 1.2 crore rupee flat, the total comes to about 2.79 crore rupees. So basically जो sticker price था उसका 2.3 times. Now I know what you're thinking. So what? The house also grows in value. In 20 years, it'll be worth crores. Just relax. But before that, first I want to show you where that 83,920 rupees goes every month, because honestly, it's so sad. Let's talk about the very first EMI our buyer has to pay, which is that 83k amount. Once it leaves his account, he must feel great, right? They're finally getting to own a house. But if you take a closer look of that, let's break up that 83k amount. What does it come to? The interest is about 68,800 rupees, and the actual house principal payment is just 15,120 rupees. So that means 82% of this very first EMI is just for the interest, not for the actual house purchase. And this isn't even a first month thing. If you fast forward 5 whole years, that means 60 EMIs, the total amount paid is, look at the math, 50.4 lakh rupees. That's half a crore. And how much of his 96 lakh rupee loan is gone? Guess karo. It's coming to, drumroll, 11.3 lakh rupees. That's it. He's paid 50 lakhs, but the loan dropped by just 11 lakhs. The other 39 lakhs was just the bank's fee for existing. In this loan, it takes exactly, if you scroll down, 144 months, 12 full years before even half of the EMI starts going towards his own home. So here's an uncomfortable question. Even after 10 years, does this person actually own the house, or does the bank actually own it? Okay, I know, थोड़ा depressing हो गया है. Let's actually go to the renter now. Before we carry on with the rest of the episode, I just wanted to come here and say that a lot of people come to me with queries around how to be an effective communicator, how to speak confidently on stage or in front of a camera, and what to do when things go wrong. So for this, I have built a course along with upskills.club on how to be an effective communicator, and in this, There is no theory, only practical knowledge drawn from my own lived experience. I'll be covering a range of topics, things like in the first 30 seconds, what can you do that will make or break your presence? What are some body language mistakes that most people oversee? Or how to rehearse without sounding scripted. So yes, this is loaded with a lot of hands-on learning, lot of tips on how to sound natural in front of a camera. And if you want to be an effective communicator in 2026, then this is a course for you. Check it out, the link is in the description. Now, back to the episode. To keep this a fair fight, both people must spend the same amount of money every month. कोई cheating नहीं है. The renter pays 35,000 rupees rent, but it's not like the rent stays the same throughout, right? So let's assume the rent goes up by 8% every year. By year 20, it crossed 1.5 lakh rupees a month. So the total rent over 20 years is 1.92 crore rupees. Wait, nearly 2 crore rupees that person spending on rent, and that too with nothing to show for it. Maybe mummy papa were right all along. Except two things. One, the renter never paid the 24 lakh rupees down payment. So on day one, let's say he takes 22 lakh minus the rental deposit and he puts it in the market. Two, every month, whatever gap exists between the buyer's EMI and his rent, he invests it. So year one, that's 83,920 rupees minus 35,000. That comes to about 49,000 rupees a month into the market. And notice something, as the time period increases, the gap between the EMI amount and the rent amount goes down. So again, if you scroll down by month 145, that's when the buyer's EMI finally is in his favor, more principal, less interest. Then the renter's rent and EMI is at the same level. So we're assuming the renter's investing stops. That way both people spend the same amount of money. Now the only difference is where it went. So if you fast forward 20 years, we're assuming the market gives us around 11% क्योंकि Nifty का long term average भी यही है. We'll talk about the renter first. His monthly investments, he only invested 41 lakh rupees, that have become 2.21 crore rupees. And remember that first day wala lump sum? That is now 1.77 crore rupees. So the total is almost 4 crore rupees. And let's say we even subtract every rupee of rent he's paid, then he's still about 2 crore rupees in the green. Now let's talk about the buyer. His flat grew at 4.5% a year, which is the average from the RBI's own housing data. That is now worth 2.89 crore rupees. So his total cost, remember, that was 2.79 crore rupees. So after 20 years, he's got a profit of just 10 lakh rupees. So, bas game over, right? Renter wins, chalo video khatam. Actually, no, because if I did that, I'd make the same mistake that most finance videos make on this topic. I forgot about tax. Here's the thing about the renter's 4 crores. It's not all his. The day he sells, the government taxes his profit. In India today, if you sell shares or mutual funds, which you've held for more than a year, you have to pay LTCG or long-term capital gains tax, and that is about 12.5% on the gains. Basically, everything more than a small yearly tax-free allowance. So the renter's profit is about 3.35 crore rupees. Uska tax ka bill is roughly 42 lakh rupees. That's crazy. That's more money than his entire down payment would have ever been. But now you'll be like, so see, the buyer wins. But hold that thought, if you sell the house also at a profit, there's a similar tax that you need to pay on those gains too. The only thing is that home sellers के पास एक ninja technique है. If you sell your house, you put that profit into another house, that tax can legally be skipped. Also after year 20, the buyer's housing cost drops to nearly zero. But the renter has to pay 1.5 lakh rupees a month in rent. And that number keeps going up, at least till it hits a ceiling, which could be the renter's propensity to spend on rent. So yes, even in this spreadsheet, the renter still wins and by a huge margin. But there's also another nuance that I want to add here. And that is this. The buyer never invested 1.2 crore rupees. He invested 24 lakh rupees. The bank's money did the heavy lifting. So when that 1.2 crore rupee flat grows by let's say 4.5%, that's 5.4 lakh rupees. It grew on the full price. On the buyer's own 24 lakh rupees, that's like a 22% return in just year one. Suddenly the market's 11% looks a bit slow. It's the same principle. Borrowed money is multiplying your gains. That's exactly why real estate probably made your uncle really rich. But here's also the flip side. The thing with borrowed money is that it can work both for and against you. Let me explain. That same first year, the buyer actually paid the bank about 8.2 lakh rupees in interest. That's more than 5.4 lakh rupees the house had gained. So this trick only works when your house grows faster in value than the loan charges you. And this logic worked great in the early 2000s or even the 2010s. The value of the houses grew at double-digit percentages in some years. Think like 15-20%. And the loans went up around 9%. But cut to today, Houses are appreciating at, let's say, 4%, but loans at 8%. So yeah, this is not good news. So the real question was never rent or buy. It's basically this. Is the house in front of you fairly priced? You just need 10 minutes and thoda sa shameless banna padega. And by that I mean ground reporting karna hai. So every house has its own report card. It's called the rent. Before buying, go talk to people already renting in that exact building or lane and ask one question. What do you pay? Say the flat that you want to buy costs 1.5 crore rupees and the family next door, same layout, same floor, pays about 40,000 rupees a month. So do that math. That comes to about 4.8 lakh rupees a year. You divide it by the price. Basically, this house earns 3.2% a year. कोई FD भी 7% दे देगा. When a house earns less than half of what an FD does, its price has gone far away from its core value. At that point, you're not buying the home. You're essentially buying whatever the seller is trying to chipkao. Point being, the market can lie to you for years. But check the rent in the area and that's how you'll get to know the true story. So after all of this, do you buy or do you rent? At this point, a lot of people here will give you thumb rules. But I feel like there isn't really one. Here's my honest checklist though. Also, the full spreadsheet is in the description. Make a copy of that and please don't request edit access. Just make a copy, put in your numbers and see what works for you. Please buy happily if you can put 20% down payment without emptying your emergency fund. Or if you're planning to stay in that city for 10 plus years and the EMI is under 30% of your take home. Also, the rental yield in that area is also decent. And if you just want the emotional stability of owning a roof over your head, right? If that's what you're prioritizing, I totally get it. If the EMI is half your salary though, then in that case, please think twice because in that situation, फिर वो घर आपका नहीं, बैंक का है, at least for 20 years of your life. And if you rent, please rent without guilt. Though I want to call out, this calculation only works for those renters and they win if they invest the difference every single month. It's as if you're paying an EMI to your future self. If you don't do that, then the winners are actually your landlord and the bank. Basically, you're just funding everyone else's dream except your own. Isse acha, if you actually want to build an asset, then do sign up for buying a house because at least you have a gun to your head to pay that monthly EMI. But if you do have financial discipline, then of course the math says renting wins. And in fact, there's a very cool graph which I found on the internet not very long back while researching for this video. It talked about how the US stock market has rallied versus the housing market in the US. And I'm sure a very similar story is playing out in India too. The difference is just exponential. So basic point being, put the values in the spreadsheet, then shut the laptop, sleep on it, and listen to what your gut says the next morning. That is going to be your answer. This is Arunima Rao signing off. See you in the next video. Until then, stay curious.